my Kush Kingdom, Kush King 710. Watching Spark Up, Roll Up. If you're on a tolerance break, hope it's going well. We're gonna get straight into the video. This is my 2.5 gram trip report. So if you ain't familiar with magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, whatever you want to call it, shrooms. Shrooms are natural psychedelic mushrooms that grow just about anywhere. It's been around for a long time. So this wasn't my first trip either. Probably my second mushroom trip, really my third, but this is the first time I did 2.5 grams. First time I did them, I did about 3.5. Second time I tried to do 5, but they were really weak. But this go around, 2.5 grams was definitely enough. So I took them around the afternoon. Within like the first, I want to say hour or so after me taking them, you know, I thought they were weak. I was finna get upset and everything, and I thought they were just some weak shrooms. And turns out, I started seeing that it's probably just a slow burn type of come up. Because usually I've had a shroom come up where it was just really intense. And that may just depend on the strand that I had. This one was just such a slow burning come up. I remember the come up, I was just laying down. And of course you start seeing the waves and motions and wiggly, you know, you start seeing patterns and everything. And I just remember like one thing I didn't take into account, or I didn't really, I guess, understand, because I've done LSD more than I've done shrooms, and more recently as well. So I went into the mindset thinking it's going to be similar to an LSD trip rather than remembering it's a shroom trip. So the visuals were there. I did have visuals and patterns. It's just the feelings and emotions were way more intense than the visuals and patterns I was seeing. That's one thing I noticed. Like shrooms is just a big feel, like emotional substance, emotional thing. At one point during the trip, I felt like I could trigger any emotion I wanted to if I really wanted to. Like it was really a crazy experience. Like you just get an overwhelming feeling of happiness. Sometimes you get good cries and good sad. Like it's really, you know, a lot of people say you can't really explain it, and that's really the best explanation to explain what you feel on it. So that was one thing I noticed for sure. Like emotions were just heavy. Another thing I got heavy with this trip was like the sound hallucinations, and of course the sense of time. My sense of time was a little distorted. Sometimes time felt like it was going really fast, and then sometimes it felt like it was going by super slow. Now, one other thing that I did do during the trip, I did smoke. I smoked weed a lot. I don't suggest you combine. I don't suggest that for everybody. That's, you know, that's just, you have to know yourself, and if you do, take it slow, please. But yeah, I smoked a little weed, and that definitely intensified the trip. That was maybe about halfway through, maybe the 2 hour, 3 hour, or the peak mark, right, a little bit afterwards. But that just, you know, that just brought the trip to a whole nother level, honestly. And of course, like, you know, the thinking, the creative thoughts. A lot of the times I think shrooms bring out a reflection of like your subconscious and your conscious, like whatever you consciously think. So a lot of that was reflected of how I was acting. And I did have a trip sitter, and honestly, I really didn't even need much of a trip sitter most of the time. It was more so of a safety net. If you're doing them for the first time, I suggest you do with somebody you trust. Or if you're doing them alone, definitely just do a really low dose. Just start off with a micro dose and just work your way up, honestly. Because if you just go in there, just willy-nilly take 3 or 4 grams, because I was about to take 3.5, but clearly I'm glad I just took 2.5. Because man, people underestimate how strong that these things can be. So keep that in mind. I had some good ideas set up too. So there was a moment where, you know, I had a coloring book with, you know, if you get a real coloring book that has all types of colors and shapes and patterns you can color, that was a crazy experiencing that on shrooms. And then there was one point where I went into the darkness, and it's just so mind-blowing being able to see visuals and patterns in the darkness. It's like, it's crazy. Like I said, that it's almost as if the visuals, compared to LSD, the visuals aren't even as intense or as detailed as LSD may be, but you will never get the feeling you feel emotionally on shrooms compared to LSD. You probably can, depending on how much you take, but it's just a little different. Like, I can't explain it. I really can't. Make sure y'all stay hydrated when you take them, because you'll forget to drink water, or you won't really drink much water, or even think about eating. Eating was so weird. Like, for some reason, eating on shrooms was, you don't really get a desire. It really just sounds better. The idea of it sounds better than actually doing it. So, and everybody talks about, if you do psychedelics, the whole mirror. You get stuck in that mirror. You start, you either face demons or you see things or whatever. Like, it's truth to that, because I went into the mirror to go use the bathroom, and man, I was in there. It felt like 10 minutes, but I was probably in there in that mirror for probably like 2 or 3 minutes. When I tell you, I started seeing it as almost as if the mirror was morphing into a room I've never even been in before or something. And if you stare at yourself in the mirror while you're tripping, it's just, I can't even explain it, bro. Like, I'm trying to explain it, but I really can't even. English words can't really describe what I was feeling and what I was seeing in that mirror. So you kind of got to find that out for yourself, for sure. I definitely felt like a presence or something was in there or something. That was kind of scary. I don't know what that was about. But luckily, my trip sitter made sure I didn't go in stay in the mirror too long. I made sure to tell her that, like, I don't stay in the mirror for an extremely long time. So that was a good tip to give your trip sitter. Overall, it was pretty, I just had a setting. I just did it in an apartment. I was able to go on the balcony, go outside a little bit, and I smoked, Overall, for 2.5 grams, it was really a really great trip. Once again, words never gonna describe exactly 100% what I really experienced, because everybody's experience is gonna be different. And that was one thing I noticed that was cool. Like, every single psychedelic trip I've had, and I've had over like 6, all of them are different. Every single one had a different thing going on, different visuals, different feel. Like, all of them were so different. And that's what I like about psychedelics, because I think, like, they can bring a lot out of you in creative ways, emotionally. I think they really can help you a lot, like, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, they really can. And I'm just really experimenting or whatever. Yeah, if you ever done psychs before, if you know, you know. I'm not necessarily suggesting anybody do them. Do your research first, and if you feel like you'll be able to do them, go for it. Start small. Please just start extremely slow. You don't want to. This is something you really don't want to rush into. So yeah, shrooms can be very beneficial for you, for whatever you're trying to achieve in life. But I'm really kind of getting a study into how this microdosing thing go. I'm really interested in how microdosing, like, because I microdosed for the first time about 2 weeks ago, and the benefits were just I saw subtle benefits, and it feels like actually like what you think supplements would do, like a multivitamin or caffeine or a caffeine pill or something. But it just feels so much more natural and organic. So, and another thing, make sure you're in a good headspace. If you have a lot going on, if you're stressed, just remember to stay in a good headspace when you're doing this stuff. Of course, just please do your research. Research before anything, so make sure your setting is good. Please give yourself a day off. I just did them yesterday, so I'm really just recovering and just having, those day after trip reports or whatever. So after process, I may continue to experiment and upload more content like this, and more trip. Eventually I want to grow my own shrooms, so that'll be good in the future. But yeah, if you got any trip stories or shroom experiences, please share them down below. I like hearing about people's stories and what they see and their benefit. Like, I like that stuff. So please comment that down below. Like, comment, subscribe. It's a new channel, so if you even watching a couple minutes of this, or if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Stay safe out there.